We have made it to Iron Man episode... Iron Man. How dare you, Stephanie?
Absolutely ridiculous.
We've made it to Ironheart episode 3. Let's hope that Riri Williams decides to turn her life around and do some good and not partake in any more crime.
I'll get you out of here. Door sealed in 3, 2, 1.
Nope. It just got worse. So the episode starts out with Riri Williams finally getting paid. Oh yeah, she's invested. She loves this. She has found where she belongs, celebrating her life of crime with her new criminal family. So while they're all celebrating and counting their cash, everyone talks about what they're going to do with their share of the money.
I'm gonna go home and open up a Michelin star restaurant.
That's not how Michelin star restaurants work. You can't just open up a Michelin star restaurant. That has to be earned. But of course, they don't know this. They don't understand the concept of earning anything.
I'm about to open up a school for kids as a money laundering front for my black market explosive.
Yeah, see, money doesn't change criminals. They just go on to commit more crime. They're just able to hide it better.
What y'all planning to do? Underground fight club.
Weren't they found in an underground fight club? So nothing's going to change for them, huh? Riri shares that her money is going to go back into the suit. She's going to reinvest in herself, obviously, because why would she invest in anything else? This is a very selfish character.
Oh, my money goes back into the suit. And I almost have enough so I can quit this shady shit.
You probably shouldn't say that around this group of people. So then Clown goes upstairs to the Parker's safe where he keeps his hood, puts it on, and decides to parade around the room wearing it while laughing, and everybody's like really freaked out about this.
Who wore it better? Parker or Clown? Have you lost your mind?
What is gonna kill you?
Miami, Paris.
And while strutting around in the hood, Clown is like, oh my gosh, this feels weird. It's not hot, like sexy hot. It's hot in like an edging on theoretical physics kind of way. What was that? She went from describing the hood as weird to edging on theoretical physics weird. In any case, this has Riri's attention.
Do we have time to analyze energy? To get to the bottom of Hood's powers? Yo, between me and you, we figure it out.
Riri's looking at her like, I didn't ask for your help. I just want to know if there's time. But then this happens. Yeah, John comes in, slaps her down, and takes the hood away from her.
Do not touch the damn hood!
Essentially disrespecting the leader of this gang, so he pretty much gave her what she deserved. But that's not how this group of women see it. No, they get really upset.
What the hell? Yo, what's your problem?
My problem.
Earlier, they were terrified because Clown put on the hood and they were like, holy shit, what the hell are you doing? And now she got what she deserved, right? She got yelled at, smacked around. I mean, this is a gang after all. They're shocked that there's consequences to this bad decision. And then Riri, tiny little Riri, stands up to John, the newest member. She was literally just recruited, screwed up on the job that she was hired to do, and now thinks that she's in any position to stand up to this guy.
Why don't you go ahead and back away, little girl?
Or what?
You just saw what he was capable of doing, and you're smaller than Clown is, so back away.
Easy, John. I think you made your point. We won't do it again.
So Riri was saved by Parker. Not that she could do any damage to John anyways. She is a tiny little woman. But Parker's like, whatever, you made your point. Let's just focus on the next job. So Slug lets them know that their next target is Heirloom's CEO. And Heirloom basically specializes in farming. And they have an issue with this because they're driving local farmers out of business. So this is why this CEO is being targeted. And there is a catch to this heist. Their security is designed to detect any type of metal. So they cannot bring any knives, any bombs, and Riri cannot wear her suit. But you know what? None of this matters. None of this matters because Parker notices something.
Why does a bunch of good-looking people look so pitiful?
Probably because your boy slammed my head into a table and still hasn't apologized yet.
Oh my god, I bet he's rethinking all of his decisions right about now. See, this is what happens when your team is full of women. They take no accountability, no responsibility for what they just did. Everything that he did is completely justified. She went somewhere where she is not allowed to go, broke into something that she is not allowed to break into, and started parading around wearing something that didn't belong to her. And yet, he's in the wrong for getting angry about it.
I'm sorry.
You cuck. I've just lost respect for this guy. I can't believe he apologized. I would have respected him more if he had been like, yeah, and I'll do it again. So after this, Riri takes Parker aside and has a little conversation with him and asks him basically like, are we the bad guys or like the really, really bad guys?
We Ocean's 11 or The Sopranos.
And he's just like, what does it matter? And she's like, because I'm not a criminal. Girl, you just committed some crimes. You're a criminal.
I'm only doing this because I have to. Not because I'm a bad person.
You're joking, right? Everyone you're talking about is a criminal.
Yeah, everybody she's talking about is a criminal. And she's like, I'm only doing this because I have to. You really don't have to do this. Nobody's holding a gun to your head. You can walk away at any point. Nobody told you that this was your only option to get money, to be successful. In fact, you are a genius. You can literally do anything in the world. You went to MIT. They set you up for success. You can make money any way you want to make money, but you're choosing this path, the criminal path. So no, you're not doing this just because you have to do this. Parker tells her, like, everybody's a criminal, including you.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You've just assisted in committing crime, and you were dancing in all of the money that you got from committing this crime. So yeah, you're a criminal.
I'm an engineer. What I'm building is
Important?
iconic.
Well, after you've committed all this crime, it's so funny that you're trying to take the high road and be like, all of this crime, it's just beneath me. I'm an engineer. What I'm building is iconic. All of this is just, it's beneath me. So I need to know, are we the selfish criminals or are we like the murderous criminals? Okay, because I need to know, like, murderous criminal is beneath me, but selfish criminal, I can get on board with that. So during this conversation, Riri asks him how his hood works, and he says magic, and she's like, magic is just code for I don't know, which is ridiculous, right? Because this is the MCU where Doctor Strange exists. She even mentions that in the previous episode.
We wake up to aliens, androids, wizards on our timeline every other day.
So her saying like, oh, magic, that's just code for I don't know. No, magic is something that exists within this whole universe of the MCU, and you are familiar with it. So that line was stupid. I thought you were a genius. And he says, it doesn't really matter. This hood just helps me protect who I love and what I want. And that's enough for him.
Why don't you take your hard-earned cash and do good?
Do good. We've already established that she's not going to do anything good with this cash. She's just going to reinvest it in herself so she can demand respect from people and be intimidating in her Iron Man suit. Look at this face that she's making. It's like she's insulted by the mere notion that Parker could think that she's a criminal who does things for selfish reasons when that is just her. Yeah, I think that he's just holding up a mirror to Riri and she doesn't like what she's hearing. So Riri decides to do something good with her money and buys some new headphones for Natalie's brother. And while he does like them, he's a little bit suspicious as to how she got the money to pay for these, and she's just like, oh no, I have this new job. And he's like, oh yeah, the startup company that you can't talk about. These headphones that I'm currently wearing, even though they're all busted up, remind me of my sister Natalie. She was always borrowing them and didn't really take good care of them, so when I wear them I feel like, you know, she's here with me. Riri's initial response after he tells her this is actually kind of funny.
That's nice.
Well, that's nice. It's the type of reaction that you have when you're not used to being around anybody who's dealing with anything emotional. So you're just kind of like, you okay? And then he basically tells her like, look, we're from the same streets. What are you out here doing? Like, how did you get all of this money?
What you out here doing?
Nothing.
You sure you're not hiding something?
She's hiding the fact that she's a criminal. And their conversation is kind of interrupted by someone knocking on Riri's door.
Good evening, ma'am. Is this the home of Riri Williams?
Why is there a sweaty middle-aged white man at my door?
I'm 36, respectfully.
We have to disrespect this character because he's a man and he's white. Anyways, Riri gets angry that Joe came to her house. And Joe explains that after their last meeting, he was just like super inspired to use all of this tech that he had in his little bunker and started thinking up all of these designs and created blueprints for them. And he wanted Riri's help. And she's just like,
I get that you're having a whole moment, but today's not really a good day for me, so rain check.
After she came to his house and inconvenienced him and stole some of his tech, now's not a really good time for her.
No.
Excuse me?
I said no. You're gonna help me as much as I need, or I'm gonna tell your mom how we really know each other.
Oh, he learned how to blackmail from Riri. Look at her being inspirational. Not really in the ways that she probably wanted to be inspirational. After all, you want people to be inspired by the things that you create, not really inspired by your criminal actions. But you know what? Whatever, she inspired somebody. She should be proud. Boop.
See you then. Thanks for teaching me to stand up for myself.
Oh, she is so mad that she taught him to stand up for himself. But you know what? She's just dealing with the consequences of her actions, of the consequences of her criminal actions. But you know what? That's probably why she's so upset, because she's having to deal with consequences. She's probably never had to deal with any type of consequences to her actions in the past, so she's getting a taste for it. She doesn't like it. So Riri needs to upgrade her suit for the next heist, and Natalie, being the free-thinking, self-governing AI that she is, doesn't want to.
I'm not upgrading shit until you pay me some attention.
What are you doing, Nat?
She's mad she's getting ignored. Riri's like, what are you doing? We need to upgrade the suit.
Before Parker's next job? You know nothing about this man. Don't laugh at me.
You both are dumb. I guess clapping is insulting. I have no idea. Natalie's actually being a little bit rational. She's like, you're going to get caught. You are aiding Parker as a high-tech criminal asset, and you don't even care because all you want is money. You are blinded by your selfish greed. And I was all on board with this. I was like, okay, she's trying to get her to see reason. But then Riri's like, what do I have to do to get you to shut up? And she's like, oh, treat me like a partner. So you want to be a partner in crime. That's what you want to do. Like Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyde back on the street.
Yep, partner in crime. That's what she wants to do. That's why she's getting upset, because she wants to be a partner in this crime. Oh my gosh.
Let's go somewhere. Hang like we used to. What? That is not an efficient use of my time.
She wants Riri to take her out somewhere and hang like they used to. And if she doesn't do that, Natalie will not undo the suit override that she placed on the suit. So Riri got blackmailed by her AI. See, this is what happens when you scan a selfish mind. You get a selfish AI.
I get blackmailed twice in 5 minutes. Karma.
Maybe it is true what they say. Once you get money, people want something from you.
Go best friend, that's my best friend. Go best friend, come on, go best friend, that's my best friend.
I'm watching a show about a genius and I can literally feel myself losing IQ points, slowly dying inside. So Natalie and Riri go out the next day and they're hanging out at some sort of park and they're talking. And then Natalie brings up a memory of when she was alive and says that, you know, she does remember things here and there, but there are gaps. And that makes sense since these memories are probably coming from Riri, since it's coming from her brain scan. So there would be gaps. And the conversation leads to Riri's dad.
I wonder what Gary would think of the suit. You know, see me flying. He probably tripped. Yeah.
He'd probably be excited because he's the one that was a fan of Iron Man, not you. You just want the money, the notoriety, and the respect that comes from it.
Especially if you knew what you were doing with it. All right, not this again. While you out here being a whole ass criminal.
How dare you judge her on her life of crime? Yeah, don't hold her accountable for her criminal actions. She doesn't like that. She would rather think about how proud Gary would be of her in her Iron Man suit, not how disappointed he would be with how she's using this Iron Man suit. So the next place that Natalie wants to go is Gary's shop. She's hoping that it'll help Riri get a little bit of perspective. Like, she doesn't want Riri to continue her criminal life. And Riri's like, nah, it's just 1 or 2 more jobs and I'll have enough money to invest in my suit and then I'll just leave. But while at the shop, seeing the AI Natalie like walk around and reminisce in the shop, Riri ends up having a flashback to the drive-by shooting and has a panic attack. Now, something that I don't understand here is that while she's recalling this traumatic event, her AI seems to be syncing up with those traumatic memories and it starts to glitch. Now, I'm wondering if that has to do with the brain mapping. Like, does that have to do with the brain mapping? I'm assuming it has to do with the brain mapping, but after she recalls this traumatic event, she starts to have a panic attack and her AI is able to calm her down.
All you have to do is breathe. In, out. How you know how to do that? How I know how to do it? My Nat was the only one who knew how to calm me down when I spiraled.
Considering all she told her to do was to breathe in and out, it's not a big brain how she was able to do that. She sees you can't breathe. She's just telling you to breathe. Anyways, Riri goes home and she sees that her mom is talking to a couple of police officers and they're asking her about the whereabouts of Stuart. You remember Stuart? Rampage? And that's the picture that they showed her of him. Why did they pull that photo of him?
He was found dead this morning. We're investigating it as a potential homicide.
Riri tells the cops that she knew Stuart from a job interview. That's where they met and they exchanged numbers and she called him once, but he never returned her call. And that was good enough for them. They said, hey, if you can think of anything else, if you know anything else, then please give us a call. So Riri goes into her room and she's freaking out. She's like, oh my gosh, Stuart got killed. They could kill me. Of course, she's only upset when something bad can happen to her. She doesn't really care about Stuart. She's just worried that she might be next.
I know I haven't exactly been Team Parker, but we don't know that.
Really? Who else could it have been? Riri literally replaced this guy. Do you think they would just let him go?
They know everything about me. About Ma? Zay? I need to get ahead of this. Yeah. I need that hood.
What? A girl's head got smashed into a counter because she touched the hood. And your plan is to go after the hood.
Are you crazy? He's not magic. He's just a regular dude in a magical outfit. He said so himself. He's nothing without that hood.
He's nothing without the hood, so the best plan is to go after the hood itself when he's not wearing it. But that's not really what she goes for.
That heirloom heist. Parker will be so distracted with Hunter Mason, he won't even notice if I take just a little piece of his hood.
First of all, she's doing that weird underbite thing like Rachel Zegler does with the Secondly, you said that this dude was nothing without the hood. But your brilliant plan is to go after the hood when he's wearing the hood during the heist.
Not a great plan.
I thought she was supposed to be a genius.
Joe has a prototype for a bio skin material. He can cover bionic enhancements. He might need a bit of tinkering, but I think he could be just what I need.
Convenient indeed. So they just finished talking about Parker and how big of a threat he is. You know, he murdered somebody. They have to be very careful with how they get a piece of his hood. And then we cut to Parker and he's in his apartment doing hot yoga. Ah, yes, the manliest exercise there is. Hot yoga.
Dang, it's hot in here, bro.
This is the guy that they're afraid of. This is the guy that's threatening. He has gotten more tattoos, though. I'll give him that. Lots more tattoos since the last episode.
Yo, don't yoga people listen to gongs? Not news about their own illegal activity?
Reports on my illegal criminal activities really help me find my center. So John is telling Parker that we have to cancel this heist. They have no leverage on this new CEO. She can't find anything in his background to blackmail him with. Like, there's nothing. This guy is clean. And Parker tells him, like, oh, we have Riri. We have the big guns. We have Riri Williams. She can just punch a hole in the side of the building. And John tells him, like, you've become too reliant on Riri. And I'm just over here thinking, like, what are you talking about? She literally only did one job for you guys, and she screwed it up. If she hadn't figured out a backup plan, then you guys would have been screwed. She has absolutely no loyalty to you guys because she doesn't want to get caught. And she has no respect for you guys because she was standing up to John, ready to fight him for slamming Clown's head into the table after she stole Parker's hood. So I don't understand why Parker thinks that he could be so reliant on Riri when Riri literally only thinks about herself. Anyways, despite this warning, Parker decides we're still going through with the heist tonight. Next, we see Riri going over to Joe's house, and he's hit a little bit of a snag.
I was trying to create a neural link between myself and a computer chip to test the potential for prosthetic implants, and whoopsie.
What did you do?
He asked for her help, and she's like, sure, I just need some tweezers, some alcohol, and...
Do you happen to have any of that biomesh skin you designed?
I've just happened to come up with an upgrade for that biomesh skin.
Cloak it from x-rays? Metal detectors?
Can they be used to violate all kinds of concealed weapon laws?
Yes, narc.
He sees right through it. She calls him a narc as if it's an insult to report someone who's concealing a weapon, but okay.
Thing is, I just need to borrow it.
I knew it. No. This is all black market tech that I've heavily modified and can be traced back to me. You can't use it to make something even more illegal.
That's a smart man right there. I wouldn't trust her with anything either, but she really wants his tech. So Riri is looking for some peroxide for Joe's arm, and she looks into a canister and she finds something that she thinks is wheat flour, and it's actually the ashes of Joe's father. And this is where we find out that his name is not Joe. His dad is actually Obadiah Stane, and he is Ezekiel Stane, Obadiah's son.
Obadiah Stane, COO of Stark Industries, BFF to Howard Stark, mentor to Tony Stark, died in that horrible plane crash. That Stane?
And we know how he actually died. He was Ironmonger.
Dad died trying to kill Tony Stark.
But the story that was put out there was that he died in a plane crash.
The plane story's a lie.
And Riri is shocked by this information.
And I've spent my whole life trying to be nothing like him. And you come knocking on my door with that same iron energy.
Get that negative iron energy away from me. I can't be a party to it. So after Joe, we're going to keep calling him Joe, not Ezekiel, because I'm just going to confuse myself. So after Joe tells her all of this information about his dad, Riri goes back to helping him with his arm.
You're good at this.
So bored. I don't remember where we are in the story. I just took a break. While she's helping him with his arm, he asks her, you know, why the suit? Are you a fan of Iron Man? And she tells him, like, no, my dad was a fan of Iron Man. He used to say the best way to know a thing is to take it apart and put it back together again. Then you can see what it's really made of. And then she has to explain to Joe that he was killed in a drive-by.
At least you had a good example. I had an ironmonger.
I don't think that really matters. She still ended up being a criminal.
But I say you're not your dad unless you choose to be. You're your own you. That guy's pretty powerful on his own.
Look at his face when she calls him powerful. She is inspiring this man one compliment at a time. Although I'm pretty sure this guy turns out to be a villain. Wouldn't it be funny if Riri Williams like emboldened him and empowered him and he ended up becoming the villain? Anyways, after all of this, Joe is like, we're friends, right?
Implement your upgrades, but promise me this won't blow back on me.
I swear. Zeke.
Oh, it's gonna blow back on him. She called him Zeke because they're basically besties now.
Might be a hero in there after all.
Nah, there's just a criminal.
Got this in like a Cocoa Sunrise.
Oh my gosh. Girl, this isn't House Labs or Fenty makeup, okay? It doesn't come in 51 shades. She's like, oh yeah, do you have it in shade number 445, deep with warm olive undertones? So the crime family is getting together right before the heist, and they do a metal check before they leave for Heirloom. So they do their final checks, and then we see Riri hiding the mesh underneath her long sleeves. And her AI tells her this.
Are you sure that biomesh and white boy nude is gonna make it past Heirloom's metal detectors?
White boy nude. You know, Riri Williams would be that person that buys like those Band-Aids that were specially made made for dark skin. Oh my gosh, I've got a deep gash in my skin. No, I don't want a white boy nude band-aid. Give me one that'll match my skin tone. So the plan is now in motion. Riri is doing surveillance and she's telling everybody what she sees. And I would think that she'd be easy to spot, being the only thing in the sky at the moment, and she's flying around in an Iron Man suit, but what do I know?
I see 5 greenhouses surrounding a...
Like, seriously, look at how low she's flying. Are you telling me that they do not see her? Nobody sees someone flying around in an Iron Man suit. No security is being alerted. Nothing? Okay.
Cameras down in 3, 2, 1. Head to the watchtower.
No one saw her land there. The watchtower is on this facility. Nobody saw her land. These are the worst guards ever. They didn't cut security from their eyes. They still have eyes. So on the watchtower, Riri ends up turning off the lights to the facility, or at least the lights to the outdoors. The team rolls up in a boat. The security guards still haven't noticed anything. They don't even notice the lights out. They have to be told by someone working inside the facility that the lights around them have been turned off.
Hey, Mike, I'm seeing some lights out by you. Can you check it out? Hello.
So we discovered that Riri is actually not in the suit. The suit is being powered by Natalie. Riri is going in somewhere else so she can take a piece of the cloak from Parker. Now, in order to get to Parker, Riri needs to go in from below. So she jumps in the water, swims down, swims through a pipe, and then goes up some stairs. All this time, AI Natalie is in the suit.
Yo, Ironheart, focus.
Let me punch this dude right in the throat.
Of course, the AI that Riri invented is violent. Yep. So Parker reveals himself to the CEO, and the CEO is prepared for them to come for him because he's been hearing a lot about these heists that are coming for all of these billionaire CEOs. He's been waiting for them, and he has an offer for them. He hands Parker a check, and Parker's like, no, it's not about the money. And Hunter, the CEO, tells him like, oh yeah, of course it's not about the money. It's about stealing the money. You guys get off in stealing someone's hard-earned cash. And Parker's like, whatever amount, it's not going to be enough. Here's our counter offer. And he hands him the contract.
Are you joking with this piece of paper?
Sign the contract. No.
And earlier they said that they didn't have any leverage, so they made their own leverage. They tell him that they're going to burn every single greenhouses one by one, effectively burning all of his life's work unless he signs the contract.
You think you could just waltz in here and take this? Take my company that I built from...
You don't know anything about starting from nothing.
He literally said that he built his company from nothing. He put in the work and built a multi-billion-dollar business. But people with this mindset, people who just think that, oh, they're billionaires, they have a bunch of money, they must have started out rich. They couldn't have started off with nothing and built a business from nothing. How do you do that? They don't understand the concept of building something from nothing because they are of the mindset that something is holding them back. They always like to believe that the reason that they are not successful is because something is holding them back. Something imaginary is holding them back. It's that whole victim mindset. Oh, you had all these privileges growing up that I didn't have. Well, if that's true, you just have to work a little bit harder, but they don't want to work harder. They want stuff given to them. They want to take. They don't want to earn anything. So they end up looking at people, looking at successful people and becoming envious instead of working really hard in order to achieve that success. Even though they might not get to that level of success, they can still get somewhere in life better than where they are now. And they'd be considered successful. But no, they would rather take from the successful people because they believe that these people who've built a billion-dollar business from nothing, they don't deserve to be successful. I deserve to be successful. I deserve all of that money that you're making. So I'm just going to take it without doing anything. It's a really ridiculous and stupid way to look at things, but there are people that actually think this way. Anyways, Riri ends up setting off the foreign object detection alarm, which essentially locks all of these people into all of these individual greenhouses that they're in, trapping them in there.
Door sealed in 3, 2, 1.
And they don't know how any of this happened. They have no idea what's going on.
Slug, what was that?
Guys, the bio alert sensor's been triggered.
Shut it down! I can't.
And they have no idea how the system was triggered. They can't shut it down. They can't really do anything. They're trapped in there. And what happens is that once they're locked in there, the CO2 levels start to rise and they can suffocate in these rooms that they're trapped in. And Slug decides to relay this information over to Hood.
Hood, we in danger, girl.
We in danger, girl. This reminds me of that scene in Ghost where Whoopi Goldberg tells Molly that she's in danger.
You in danger, girl.
Now, the CEO informs Hood, like, your team is trapped. There's nothing you can do. Take this check. It's all you're going to get, and get out. He throws the check at him and he doesn't leave. Hood doesn't leave. And so in order to intimidate him further, the CEO grabs a gun, points it at Hood, and is like, I said, get out of my sight. And this entire time, Riri's trying to cut a piece of cloth off of the hood. Like, she's trying to get her piece of the hood with her laser cutter. And like, it's taken her this long. I thought she just needed a tiny little piece of it, but it has taken her a really, really, really long time. She's going so freaking slow. But anyways, Hood says, okay, and inhales. And then proceeds to choke this man and break his neck. And Riri sees this and she freaks out. But she was successful in her little cloak cutting mission, and she got a piece of the Hood's cloak. That was a huge freaking piece. Like, that was a big ass piece. She didn't need that big of a piece. So the gang's trying to get out of these rooms, but they're unsuccessful. Probably should have hired someone with a little bit more strength to be your muscle. Oh my God. Are you really trying to bust through the glass with your fists? These aren't the brightest of people. One grabs a box, the other one's just using their fists. Like, I'm sure there's something better, harder, less painful to use in that room than your fist. So the worst security team in the world makes it in, and they say, Mr. Mason's not breathing. Call an ambulance. They really are the worst security in the world. Parker starts beating up all of these guards, and while he's doing that, Riri tries to escape. But she gets stuck in the vents. They close off on her, and AI Natalie tells her, like, stay put, I'm on my way to go get you. But Riri's like, no, go help the others. Just direct me to an unaffected greenhouse that's not pumping CO2 into it, and go save the rest of the team. And she reluctantly agrees and follows her orders. Now, Riri goes into an unaffected greenhouse room and then tries to leave, but on her way out, she runs into John, who sees her out of her suit holding a piece of Parker's hood. And he hasn't been able to get a hold of Parker's, so he thinks that Riri has something to do with that.
How'd you get that, Riri? Where's Parker? John. Why you sticking around with a piece of Parker's hood? Hey, Bill Parker! Told you to stay in your lane, kid, right?
For what? You do me like Rampage?
What you say?
I know y'all killed Rampage.
That's so stupid. Why would she say that? She is injured, and she's like, I can explain. I know you killed Rampage. Like, now's not the time to try and be hard. You're literally calling for your AI to come and help you because you know that you cannot defeat this man. But yet you proceed to give him even more of an incentive to kill you.
Not a great plan.
She's supposed to be a genius. She's not very smart. So he throws her around because she's like 5 foot nothing. Now, she still does have this laser pointer that could cut through things, and she doesn't use it. I would think that a laser pointer would be considered a weapon. I mean, she doesn't even have to use it to kill him. She can just use it to hurt him, but she doesn't do that. It doesn't even matter. It fell off. If she'd rather use a keyboard to try and protect herself, she loses the laser cutter along with the biomesh skin that could link back to her new bestie, Zeke. Now, Parker ends up saving 2 members of his team, and AI Natalie ends up saving the other half. Now, the room that they're fighting in actually seals up and starts leaking CO2 in it as well.
Yeah, what's happening?
Suffocating, idiot!
Now, Natalie comes in, puts Riri in the suit just as this greenhouse room was about to lose the last bit of oxygen. But they do something. After Riri is in the suit, she leaves, leaving John behind to die. He dies. He suffocates in that room. Yeah, this effectively makes her a murderer. She murdered this man. She left him behind to die. She could have saved him. She could have taken him with her. She knew that the room was leaking oxygen, that if he stayed there a minute longer, he would die. And she left anyway. She didn't save him. This is our hero. We're supposed to be rooting for her. Hood is in the boat and he's asking everybody, like, where's John? Where's John? Anybody got eyes on him? Where's John? And he asks Riri, please fly over and find him. And she does this knowing that he's dead.
Do you see him? Did he make it out?
He's in one of the greenhouses and he's not moving.
He's dead. She killed him. But you know what? We have to feel sorry for Riri, okay? We have to feel sorry for Riri because in the next scene, not only does she realize, oh my gosh, I've just killed somebody, but she realizes that she also lost the biomesh skin that could get tied back to Joe, essentially breaking her promise to him.
Whoa, Riri, your arm, the biomesh.
But you know what? She's not a bad person. She's not a bad person because all of this causes her to have a panic attack. She's not a bad person. And then we cut to Parker in his apartment. He's throwing the hood on the ground and he's yelling out like, I trusted you. John trusted you. Why? Why did you do this? Is this all part of the plan? I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And this is actually a great performance by Anthony Ramos. Like, he is giving it his all. He is really carrying the show. In the midst of screaming out like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore. He sees his cousin on his knees suffocating on the floor. And he's like, why? Why are you showing me this? And then he sees something else and it all clicks in his mind. He has figured it out. He has figured out that Riri is responsible for his cousin's death.
Riri, please talk to me. Good? No, I'm not.
And I think this is meant to be some sort of realization for Riri. Like, no, I'm not okay. I haven't been okay for a very long time. Ever since the drive-by, I haven't been okay. Like, I've been making all of these bad decisions up until now. Like, I think this is supposed to be some sort of realization for her. But the show is written so poorly that our path to get to this realization just doesn't work. Like, it would be one thing if Riri was shown thrown into work, obsessed with building an Iron Man suit, really obsessed with the idea of building this Iron Man suit, building model after model after model, trying to upgrade it over and over and over again because she wants to save people, because she doesn't want what happened to her happen to anybody else. But that's not what they've shown us in these first 3 episodes. In fact, she barely even talks about the incident. She won't even talk about it, and even scoffs at the idea of people doing something for good, like to help other people. And her mom even says, like, Riri's always been this way. You know, that's just Riri. So, like, I get what they're trying to show, but the writing on the show is so bad that her panic attack, like, this just comes across as, oh crap, I just lost a piece of skin that could get tied back to Joe, who can tie it back to me, coming across as if she's just worried about herself because she's been written so far to be incredibly selfish, and like self-preservation is her top priority when put in any type of danger. So like, I understand what they're trying to do, but it just doesn't come across that way with the writing on the show. But anyways, we made it through another episode. Episode 3, that was it. We in danger, girl. That's actually the title of the episode. We in danger, girl.
You in danger, girl.
So yeah, episodes 4, 5, and 6 will be out soon, and you can bet that I will do a review for those as well. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Let me know what y'all think in those comments down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.